Well, hi, Forever family. One thing I want to say is that we're just delighted that we have an opportunity to connect with you during the week. You know, a big group, the Celebrate Recovery group, only happens once a week. So we're hoping to connect with you a little bit here on Facebook and other platforms just to keep you motivated, give you things that you can listen to during the week. So what I thought we would do over the next 12 weeks or so is look at the verses that are attached to each one of the steps. We'll probably look at the Beatitudes, the 8 principles after that. But for now, I think we want to just take these steps one at a time. We'll start at step 1, which seems like a good place to start, and look at the verses that are attached to them. So in step 1, of course, as you all know, step 1, it talks about my total depravity. It talks about nothing good living in me, that is, in my sinful nature, for I have the desire to do what is good, but I can't carry it out. And so this is step 1. Realize that I'm not God is the next step, but this step is coming to the end of myself. So most of us in our active hurts, habits, and hang-ups have begun to come to the realization that we cannot live the good life. We cannot do the good that God requires. And this is where step 1 comes into play. I admit that I'm powerless over my hurts, habits, and hang-ups. I admit that I cannot do what God requires me to do. And as I take a look at the righteous requirements of the law, my problem is the more that I know about God and how good He is, the more I feel in great trouble about how bad I am. And so step 1 is the beginning of the road to recovery, because I have to reach the end of myself before I can truly reach out for a solution that we find only in Christ. So again, in Romans 7:18, he goes into great detail. For I know that nothing good lives in me, that is, in my sinful nature, for I have the desire to do what is good. We all know what good is. We all know what we're supposed to do. That Paul goes through great detail in that in the first few chapters of Romans, that man is without excuse. We know the righteous requirements of the law, and yet we cannot live up to them. And those of us who have perhaps gone a little further than others into active addiction and other behaviors know that what this feels like, to try over and over again to do the right thing, to fail over and over again, to try every solution that everybody suggests, and yet I can't carry it out. And finally come to the realization before I get to recovery, oftentimes long before I make it to recovery, that the problem is me. We have met the enemy and he is us, right? So this is what the first step of recovery talks about. The thing that's not talked about in recovery meetings quite often is the step before the step. And the step before the step is often this long, grueling process and the realization that I cannot manage my own life. For this person, for this addict, for this alcoholic, it looks like this. I can't run my life in such a way that sooner or later I don't turn back to my old friend of alcohol and drugs in order to either escape the life that I've built through my behaviors or just to get a break from it in some way. So for me, I can't manage my life. And so coming to that realization really brings me to the crux of step 1. I'm so grateful that the Bible is complete for everything we need. So as I look in Romans 7:18, I recognize that everyone else is in this same boat. That if we try to meet the righteous requirements of the law, for me, I had a getting good list, right? I had a getting good list. I was going to get a haircut, get a real job, start going to church, do the right thing, stop doing the wrong thing, all that. And it never worked for me for any period of time. So step 1 is coming to the end of me and beginning this path to recovery. Next week, we'll take a look at step 2. We'll analyze the verse that's associated with that and see what we can gather from that, and maybe get a little deeper dive into these verses that are associated with our recovery program. Until then, we look forward to seeing you on Tuesday. Remember, we eat at about 6:15, 6:30, somewhere in there. Large group starts at 7. And if you can stay afterwards for the second part, the small group, which usually runs about 8 to 9, it's really a way to connect on a little deeper level with other members of your Forever family. Until then, we'll see you next week.